Hi friends. What if taking vitamin D at night is a reason why you don't feel rested when you wake up? Or maybe you struggle with brain fog, or maybe your vitamin D refuses to budge. Let me explain. So most people think taking vitamin D is simple until they check their levels and it doesn't improve. And what people don't realize is that vitamin D, this is not just a vitamin. It is actually a hormone made by your body in response to sunlight. So here's the obvious question. If vitamin D is connected to sunlight, then why are so many people taking it right before bed? Does it matter? That question is personal to me because for me, the D in vitamin D stands for dad. My father passed away from complications of vitamin D deficiency, and I don't want the same issues. And I know plenty of people who struggle to get their vitamin D levels up, even though they faithfully take vitamin D every day. So today, let's explore the timing of taking vitamin D and what actually happens when you don't get your levels up. And by the end of the video, you'll understand why timing matters, how to best take vitamin D, and what else you need to do to get your levels up. But stay with me, please, because vitamin D is far more than what most people realize. You may be surprised at how deeply it affects your immune system, your muscle, your bones, your metabolism, your mood, and even your sleep. Vitamin D will change your life. My name is Dr. Lou, and I've been a double board certified clinical physician for nearly 30 years. And unfortunately, many people who get infectious diseases also have low vitamin D levels. And throughout history, we know that when physicians treat sick people outdoors, they did better with the flu and with tuberculosis. So why aren't we seeing sunlight, folks? Your body naturally makes vitamin D when UVB light hits your skin. UVB light is from the sun. So the obvious question is, why would anyone need to take a vitamin D supplement if you can make it yourself? Because for millions of people, that natural system is broken. Not because their body is messed up, it's because the modern world is preventing you from getting that sunlight. UVB light actually has to reach your skin, but today many people barely go outdoors. We wake up indoors. We work indoors. We pay a gym membership to exercise indoors. We drive right indoors and then sit under artificial light at night. And even when the sun is shining, our skin may never see enough of it to make vitamin D. And when people do go outside, several things can block that signal. If you have darker skin, you have more melanin. That's protective, but it also reduces how much UVB light reaches a deeper layer of skin where vitamin D is made. Then you're adding sunscreen, you're wearing an umbrella, you're wearing long sleeves, you may be obese, you may be taking medication, have gut problems, have liver or kidney disease. Maybe you have malabsorption. That all interferes with vitamin D production, absorption, and activation. But the biggest reason is simple. We stop living under the sun. And this isn't new. Vitamin D deficiency became a man-made epidemic during the Industrial Revolution. Children were crowded into cities, trapped indoors, surrounded by factories, smoke, coal dust, and polluted air so thick that sunlight could barely reach the streets. And in some industrial cities, the smog was so bad that children could hardly play outside normally. Imagine trying to throw a ball through the air so dirty and dark that the sun itself felt filtered out. Their bodies were designed to make vitamin D from sunlight, but society built a world, trapped them in a world where sunlight could not reach them. That's when rickets became a thing. It was widespread. Children with soft bones, bowed legs, weak muscles, delayed growth, and skeletal deformities. And their bodies were not defective. They were just not getting input. Their environment was. And once again, medical doctors had to come find the solution to a man-made problem. We created these indoor cities, these factories, indoor lifestyles, air pollution, and food systems that separated people from getting enough vitamin D. And of course, that's how we learned about cod liver oil, fortified foods with vitamin D testing, and supplements to replace what nature used to provide us for free. Now, I've had several of my own personal friends ask their providers to check their vitamin D levels, and they've been denied. Just so you know, there are several websites online, including major lab centers around the country, that will check your vitamin D level for a small fee, anywhere between $30 and $90, and that is, cash. It is well worth the money because the medical bills for vitamin D deficiency can be 100,000 times that amount, let alone the medical consequences. So let me tell you what happened to my dad. So one day I got a call from my mom that my dad couldn't get out of the bathroom because he had such excruciating back pain. And for some reason, they didn't want to call 911. So finally, they were able to find a friend whose son came over, and the son, who just happens to be a medical doctor, helped him get out of the bathroom. And then they called me. My dad was actually acutely paralyzed from the waist down. Long story short, he sat too hard on the toilet and that fractured his spine, which then gave him cord compression. And eventually he had emergency surgery. He was up like the next day, but the spinal surgeon called me immediately afterwards and told me that he wasn't sure if the rod he placed inside my dad's back would hold because his bone was as soft as sand. And I still remember that moment as if it was yesterday. Shortly after that, his vitamin D level came back as undetectable. Now, how long was he at zero? I don't know, but I suspect for years. And throughout those years, he had plenty of physician contacts, but nobody bothered to check a vitamin D level. Vitamin D doesn't just affect your bone, folks. Did you know that low vitamin D status increases your risk of Parkinson's? You have vitamin D receptors throughout your body, in your immune cells, muscle cells, brain, pancreas, blood vessels, and gut. So when vitamin D is low, the problem is just not limited to weak bones. Your entire biology starts losing its key regulatory signals that interacts with the nucleus of your cell. That is why deficiency can show up as rickets in children, osteomalacia in adults, osteoporosis, muscle weakness, falls, fractures, fatigue, poor immune defense, worsening inflammation, insulin resistance, high blood pressure, mood problems, and brain fog. But one of the most important places vitamin D works is in your immune system. Because your immune system, it's supposed to defend you without attacking you. And that balance is everything. And when you have adequate levels of vitamin D, it calms the immune system down. It can communicate and tolerate your own body cells. But without enough vitamin D, the immune system, it becomes like wacko and it becomes inflamed. It starts to attack self. That's why low vitamin D levels is repeatedly linked to autoimmune diseases like multiple sclerosis, type 1 diabetes, rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, inflammatory bowel disease, psoriasis, autoimmune thyroid disease. And when the immune system loses its brakes, it may stop protecting you and start attacking you. But once you get the autoimmune disease, unfortunately, just taking vitamin D isn't enough to reverse the problem. And that's why vitamin D matters far beyond your bones. It is not just about preventing fractures. It's about helping your immune system keep you well, to stay intelligent. It's about getting your muscles strong, staying strong, getting your metabolism optimal, and your body resilient to whatever life brings to you. And this is where the title of the question becomes even more important. If vitamin D is connected to sunlight, what happens when you take it at night? Does it help your body repair while you sleep? Or does it send a daytime signal when your body is trying to shift into darkness? And to understand this, you need to know what happens to your body at night. And that's how you understand if there is an advantage or disadvantage in taking vitamin D at night. So at night, what's your body supposed to do? It's supposed to rest and relax, right? And how does it know to do that? How does it know it's nighttime? When it gets dark. And at that time, another hormone goes up, melatonin. So your nervous system slows down, your digestion slows down, your brain shifts from activity to repair. And keep in mind, vitamin D is a fat-soluble vitamin. And remember how fat and water, it doesn't mix? Well, knowing that principle, do you think you will absorb more vitamin D if you get some fat in the system? Yeah, you will. So what do you think is going to happen if you take vitamin D on an empty stomach right before bed? You may not absorb it as well. And at night, you're supposed to go to sleep, right? Do you know the hormone that gets you sleepy? Yeah, that's melatonin. So do you know what happens to melatonin in the presence of vitamin D? It actually reduces the level of melatonin. which, by the way, is needed for your sleep. So if you're already struggling with insomnia, then the question becomes, is taking vitamin D sending a mixed signal to your body? Is it confusing your body? And on top of that, taking vitamin D is not the same as absorbing vitamin D. Later on, we'll talk about how you can choose the best vitamin D to take. But keep in mind that absorbing vitamin D is not the same as activating vitamin D. That difference may explain why so many people take vitamin D and still do not get the result they expect. So again, vitamin D is fat soluble. That means you absorb it better when you take it with a meal that contains some fat. No, it's not a lard-filled greasy meal. So we're not talking about fast food, real food with some healthy fat. That could mean avocados, nuts, seeds, some tofu, some milk here, unsweetened plant milk. And when you eat a balanced meal, you naturally will have some fat. So if you're on a Mediterranean diet, you're going to eat some fish. Fatty fish can provide both vitamin D, and that fat helps absorb it. The point is simple. Taking vitamin D with black coffee on an empty stomach is not the same as taking it with your food your gut can use. And having active vitamin D takes more than just swallowing this pill. Now, what should you take? Vitamin D2 or D3? Well, D3 can actually raise levels more effectively over time and is less likely to cause erroneous low vitamin D blood test results. Now, when you absorb vitamin D through the gut, it's carried through your bloodstream, processed in your liver, activated in your kidneys and other tissues, and this is all coordinated by another supplement. It's called magnesium. When your gut health is good, your fat absorption is good, and your magnesium levels are good, then all this will help you maximize your vitamin D absorption. So if your timing is off, empty stomach, low fat, low magnesium, you may be inflamed, sleep deprived, and then you eat a diet that actually is lacking the minerals you need to activate it, you may be swallowing vitamin D without truly solving the problem. And that's why I created a supplement called NACPro Plus just for that issue, right? Knowing that combining vitamin D and magnesium will make it more effective for people to get their levels higher. And that's why if your vitamin D level barely moves, it may be something else going on. And if you're taking it at night, especially if you're eating a late dinner, your absorption may improve, but now your digestion, it should be winding down, right? So how are those calories serving you?
Hi, friends. I am so thrilled that you want to take charge of your health and take charge of your food. Now, I know nutrition can be complex, but it doesn't have to be. And I'm here to support you in this lifelong journey. So if you point your camera app to this QR code, it'll take you to a link for a free handout that I created just for you. And if you like it, if you want to see other handouts, please go to the link in my show notes, and then you can leave me your feedback on what I could do to help you in your journey. Okay, back to the video now.
So let's say you get a low level and you're wondering how much vitamin D you should take. So for every 1 nanograms per milliliter increase, you'll need to get an additional 100 international units of vitamin D per day, unless you are obese. So for example, your blood level is 18 nanograms per milliliter. That's deficient. If you take 1,000 international units daily, that should get you to about 28 nanograms per milliliters. And don't repeat your blood test for at least 6 weeks. In theory, that should work, but in reality, I don't see it working like that. And it may be because it depends on how you're taking it, the timing of it, what else are you taking with it, and are you able to activate it? Half of the American population have a magnesium deficient diet, and literally 50% of Americans are walking around not knowing that their magnesium levels are suboptimal. So if you don't have enough magnesium, you're not going to be able to get your vitamin D levels up. Keep in mind that just because this is a natural hormone doesn't mean when you take it in a pill that it's a natural way to take it. And the upper tolerable limit is 4,000 international unit. And that is where the timing question gets pretty tricky. In the morning, it matches the signal from the sun. And when you eat, it improves absorption. But at night, it may be the easiest time to remember to take your supplements. And if you're eating a heavy dinner, yeah, that can increase the digestion, but that's when your metabolism should be winding down. And so what is your metabolic rate? How's that processing your calories? Remember, your body needs magnesium to metabolize and activate vitamin D. Besides, magnesium is involved in like over 300 metabolic enzymes in your body. So when you're deficient, there's going to be bad things that happen. And when your vitamin D level barely moves or when you're tired, it may not just be vitamin D alone, right? Besides low magnesium, your body may be missing other minerals in the system to process vitamin D properly. And that is the trap. People keep increasing vitamin D dose when their real issue may be, your absorption, your timing, your gut health, or magnesium gap. Now, nutrients don't work in isolation. They work together as a network. And vitamin D is no different. And this is why your gut has to be healthy, your liver and kidneys has to be healthy, and all your vitamin and minerals, including your vitamin K, potassium, and magnesium need to be balanced. So when someone says vitamin D, it didn't work for me, the problem may not be the vitamin D itself. It may be the way that the person took it, maybe without food, or maybe they have some absorption issues. They're on medications that interfere with vitamin D. Maybe they just have poor sleep. So remember, building your diet is really important to absorb vitamin D, right? If you're on a refined flour, sugar, processed food diet with white everything, white rice, white pastries, except for colored soda, then you're missing magnesium-rich foods that will optimize activating vitamin D, right? Instead, whole foods like beans and spinach and kale and tofu, whole grains, they support your body's ability to activate vitamin D properly. And so this modern food landscape, it's giving us calories without enough cofactors. And you're getting full, but you're not getting resilient. And this is why people can be overweight and undernourished and still take vitamin D and not have any levels change. And by the way, if you find values in my videos, would you mind checking if you're subscribed? And if you are not subscribed, please hit the subscribe button, like button, and share button, because it does change how many people get to watch my videos. I appreciate your partnership in helping to change the world. And I appreciate you helping me earn this plaque, which I finally ordered. I wanted to open it with you. So this plaque, I got the privilege of ordering when I hit 100,000 subscribers. So that was quite a while ago, but I never bothered to order it because, well, I just never bothered to order it. So finally, one of my friends encouraged me to order this plaque, and I thought it would just be nice to open it with you since you guys are the ones who helped me earn it. So this is the first time I'm going to see it taped pretty securely. Actually, I think I ordered it, and for like a couple weeks, it sat in my mailbox because I didn't realize that the postman had it, gave us a key for special packages because it didn't actually fit my mailbox. All right, ready? Oh, okay. Let's see what it looks like. All right. And this is my very first YouTube plaque. It says here, presented to Healthy Immune Doc for passing 100,000 subscribers. Thank you very much for helping us earn this plaque together. I'm going to put it right here. So don't go overboard and take excess vitamin D. That actually has been shown to cause weakness and reduce physical activity in people. It's been shown in women who had hyperparathyroidism. They actually lost grip strength, reduced knee flexion, and they slowed physical movement. It's also been shown to reduce strength in postmenopausal women. And it's been shown to decrease the activity of older men and women. And even though you get your levels up, the body still needs one of the oldest, most basic signals in human biology, sunlight. Because sunlight is more than just vitamin D. The sun doesn't just give you, UVB lights. It tells your body it's morning time, tells your brain the day has started. Of course, you got to show your skin to be able to get vitamin D. But light enters in your eyes to help reset your internal clock, your circadian rhythm, to regulate melatonin, to support your mood, your alertness, and your body for better sleep later at night. That is why living indoors and creating an indoor 24/7 job is a problem for your health, not just with vitamin D, right? All your circadian rhythm regulates your metabolism, regulates other hormones. And so if you don't get that sunlight to reach your eyes and your skin and your brain, you're going to not just have problems with vitamin D. And of course, if you live far from the equator, it's like spending the whole day indoors, right? Or if you work night shifts. This is why you got to be careful and when you go out and be intentional to go out. So a UV index is something you can look up. So during midday, UV index is pretty high, but if a UV index is under 3, that is safe to go out. And that usually happens in the early mornings or in the evening times. Now, remember, sunshine may be everywhere, but if you're stuck in your car in your office or using sunscreen or, in long sleeve clothes, right? It prevents the sunshine from hitting your skin. And if you think you're getting enough sunlight, nobody can tell if you have enough vitamin D. Just go get those levels checked. In this day and age, there's no need to do guesswork. Now, there's a bunch of food that can give you some vitamin D, but usually I take a supplement because these milks, it has 3% vitamin D in it. Doesn't have a whole lot. And so for many people, diet alone is not enough, which is why a supplement can easily mitigate the problem. But vitamin D doesn't replace doing the hard work of eating what your body needs. Leafy greens, beans, mushrooms, seeds, fiber, protein, strength training, and to go get sunlight, go get proper sleep, and eat foods that are high in magnesium. So now we can finally answer the question, what if you take vitamin D at night? So taking vitamin D at night is not automatically dangerous, and some people sleep perfectly well after taking it late at night. But if you already struggle with insomnia, can't settle down your thoughts, have nighttime anxiety, or you're waking up at 2 or 3 in the morning, you feel wired, maybe moving vitamin D earlier may make more sense for you, right? Breakfast or lunch often works better because you can take it with a meal that contains some healthy fats. And then you're going to match your biology with your light rhythm and leave nighttime for darkness so you don't interfere with melatonin, your magnesium, and sleep. But timing is really only part of the story, right? The bigger issue is whether you are using vitamin D correctly to restore your levels, to protect your body over time. And the blood tests that doctors usually check are 25-hydroxy vitamin D or 25-OHD. But that number can be misunderstood. So some people are told that they're normal, even though their level may not be ideal for their situation, while others are clearly deficient and they never get themselves rechecked. And because vitamin D is fat soluble, like I said, more is not always harmless. And theoretically, excessive vitamin D, besides being related to muscle issues, it can raise calcium, contribute to kidney stones, kidney injury, nausea, weakness, confusion. But honestly, I've never seen those things happen. But there is no need to guess, like I said. Test, treat, recheck, and adjust, especially if you have kidney disease or high calcium or kidney stones, hyperparathyroidism, sarcoidosis, lymphoma, granulomatosis diseases, or medications that will affect your vitamin D metabolism. Let's not be afraid of vitamin D. Let's respect it for its proper role. And remember, deficiency is not just a lab problem. It becomes a strength, resilience, and independence problem. So when someone you love begins to decline, every small loss matters. So less sunlight means less vitamin D. That can contribute to weaker muscles, less movement, more fragility, higher fall risk, and one fall will change your entire life and your life. And that's why I want people to care earlier before they fracture, they fall, or getting out of a chair becomes difficult, and before the final months become literally the final months. Check your level early, improve it with your diet and nutrition and supplements, and get sunlight safely. Remember, there are other things that help you activate vitamin D. And I cannot emphasize the importance of getting enough magnesium in your daily diet. And if you want to learn more about that, watch the next video.